Greetings, this is the Tesla Taxi Ride Along. I picked up this person at the airport, turned on the camera, and we had a nice conversation.
There's a camera here that's keeping track of me in my eyes. So if I'm not looking forward for, it gives, there's some grace,
Right.
As it would be for anybody that was driving, like right now I'm looking at you, I'm not looking at the road.
Right.
But see what it just did?
Slowing down because.
No, it said apply slight force to the steering wheel.
Oh.
Gave up a what we call a nag, that I had to touch the steering wheel. If I hadn't touched the steering wheel, well, that blue would have kept on getting, and if I just kept watching you instead, it would have gotten darker and darker and blinked faster and faster, and then it would have gone to that beep again. Please take, pay attention to the road. And then if you ignore that, then the whole screen goes orange and it says, take over now because automatic driving is going to stop.
Wow. That's cool. That's why people don't stop playing the games while the car's doing the thing.
But Musk says the car should be able to do this thing. In fact, his sales point, he says that any of his cars sold after 2022 that have the hardware for computers should be able to drive autonomously without anybody in the car at all. The robo-taxi idea. Right. That you'll use your car to go to work and then you'll send your car out to work for you. It's close. It's close. It's really close. There's no doubt about it. But especially the last 500 feet, the last 100 yards, that's where, you need to have some interaction with the person. The person tells me where they want to get dropped off.
Right.
The compute, see, again, I was looking at you. Apply slide. We're looking good. HRBT is 11 minutes. We like that. 10 miles, 11 minutes. Can't get much better than that.
How are the roads did they finish the new tunnel?
Oh, come on. How long has it been since you've been here?
About a year.
This got another 2 years before this thing's done. One of the tunnels is done. They've got one of the holes done. The tunnel is actually built. Channel 10, the news show, they did a thing on it where the reporter walked through it and everything. You could see what it would look like. It's cool. It's a big tunnel. And they talked about the machine, and they showed video of the machine and how it was being done and all that. So that was really cool. So yeah, that's how I know that one of them's been done. They're working on the other one. It started on this side, went that way. It's coming back now. It took 3 months just to turn the machine around. It takes 3 months to set this machine up, just to set it up. So the car's shifting lanes on its own. It's doing, it's figuring out the best way to drive right now. So yeah, and the biggest issue is that the approach to the tunnel has only been 2 lanes each direction. Well, now there's going to be 2 tunnels, so that needs to be 4 lanes each direction. And now all of the bridges that lead up to the tunnel need to be widened to 8 lanes instead of 4. So that's what most of the construction is now that we see.
How's traffic been going through? Is it
crappy as hell.
Okay.
My strategy is I start early in the morning, end up working over on this side of the James in the morning, and try to earn $100 or so on that side, partially because the charging is cheaper over here. It's almost half the price that it is at the Patrick Henry Mall. And it's at the Patrick Henry Mall, which is almost as far away as the charger here is at the airport, to where I live. I live in Hampton. So I try to get on the other side, before 2 o'clock, if I can. because it gets that bad.
Right.
It becomes a parking lot. Now, this if you're driving around here, it's good to know. I'm gonna let the car follow the because I want to see how it does it. It doesn't know about this. This thing on the left, it's just a bypass. Now see, we're in an exit only lane, and I don't think the car realizes it. I just did the turn signal just to make sure that it understood what it needed to do, because that's the type of thing that it'll mess up on. But all I had to do is use the turn signal. So there's still two lanes going north, going west, but one of them's up there, and it's free. It's not a toll or anything, but it's what they've done to the highway for a little while, which is really whacked. And during the afternoon, that becomes a bottleneck for sure. That becomes you'll stop. You'll basically be stopped until everybody funnels down from 3 lanes to 1 lane, except for the people that know to go that way.
Right.
And most people don't know to go that way. You saw out of all these cars, only 1 car went that way. And the only reason I went this way is because the car doesn't know that way.
Right. So if the car doesn't know to change lane, you just turn on the turn signal and it'll.
And, I could say, turn lanes, change lanes. And of course, it does its due diligence and makes sure there's nobody there. And there are times where it won't do it. It just won't do it because it thinks it's better off. It's like I'm fighting with it. I want you to go over! To the point where I end up turning the steering wheel and making it do it. And then the computer will put up a screen and say, "Why'd you disengage? Tell me what I did wrong." And then I tell it what it does wrong. I tell it that I wanted to be in the other lane for whatever reason, and the car just wouldn't do it. It's funny. So it knows the speed limit's 55, but it judges what the general traffic is. So it does what's called traffic-aware cruise control.
Tell the officers, everybody else is going 80, so I was going 80.
Well, if you're the one that gets caught at it, everybody doing 80, well, that's your fault.
You're right.
You must have been doing 84. And the other thing I can do is I can hit the accelerator and say, I want to go faster here. And it'll do that. It'll let me go faster without taking off the auto steering. And I just released it again, and now it'll go back to what it thinks is the right speed. So I have that control too. I mean, I have full control. All I have to do is steer.
Right.
It's going back to this lane for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. It's a good lane to be in as we're coming up to this traffic jam, which isn't a terrible jam. It's just a little bit of congestion. Yeah, I'm not always sure why it's in what lane. Except with chill. I can set it to that's hurry. I'm sorry. I can set it to chill. And when it's in chill, it'll pretty much just stay in the right-hand lane and not do any passing. It'll just, whatever this speed of this lane is, that's what it does. So sometimes, especially in this, I'll just leave it in chill.
Something else. Does it get a little hot with this roof and all glass?
It does. It can. Yes. In fact, I even have a sunshade that I put on the front half of it once the summer gets going,
Uh-huh.
because it serves me no purpose. People would get very nervous if I was driving around looking up.
Yeah.
So I put a shade on the front part, leave the back part open.
Okay.
But it is UV shielded, so it doesn't burn up the plastic or anything. The car's, been I don't park in a garage, so it's been, and I drive all day long, so the interior has been exposed to the sun for the year, and it doesn't show it at all. Doesn't look like out lawn furniture would look like after a year.
Got that new car smell. It smells like it. So you work for Lyft and Uber?
Yeah, I prefer Lyft.
Yeah, they're more expensive.
I get paid better.
Well, I used to go with Lyft because they were cheaper, but the $45 ride is now $75.
Yeah, well, I can't even see. One of the things I don't like about Uber is I can't show you what I'm getting paid right now. It's hidden from me. It's hidden from you. With Lyft, I could have shown you. I could have said exactly how much Lyft is taking, how much I'm getting. We could be honest about it. I think I'm getting for this trip. It was $17. Might have been. There were a couple that came up. The most that it's going to be is 23.
Okay, 23. Well, I'm paying 53.
Yeah, because none of the trips that came up while I was at the airport were more than $23. And there were a couple that I just turned down. One to Newport News over by the shipyard for 16. I said, I'm not doing that for $16. There's too many possibilities of things going wrong and getting caught in a traffic jam or something else over there. And
50%. You doing all the work.
yeah, and if there's traffic jam or something like that, and it extends the time, we don't get any more money. We get whatever, because it's a pay up front type situation.
Right.
So that, that could become a total screw.
Now, do you get paid daily or weekly or?
Daily. And it depends on how you do it. They have their own credit card, so because I was willing to sign into their account, it goes into almost immediately. Like after the end of the trip, I'll get a notice that a deposit was made. If you are doing it to your own bank, it's weekly, I think, or daily. I think daily or weekly, and they charge you. If you use their bank, they don't charge you.
Right. My sister does Uber Eats in New York. She has her son go with her. So he can deliver the food while she drives.
It's something that you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a lot less restrictive with the food delivery. They don't care as much about your car. They don't, care about it if you're doing it with somebody else in the car. Like if I had somebody else in the car when I picked you up, that would be a reason to be thrown off the app. That would be a violation of the community guidelines, and any violation of community guidelines they can take away access to the app, And that's all it does is you try to log into the app and it says, sorry, you're not able to work anymore.
Now, is it hard to sign up?
A background check takes 3 to 4 days. Depending on the state and stuff on the background check, I heard it. They tell you it could take 2 weeks. It didn't take 2 weeks. It only took 3 or 4 days. But they tell you 2 weeks.
Right.
And the car has to be a certain year. I think it's 2018 and later. I'm not sure. It might be 2019. They might have upped it to 2020. I'm not sure exactly where it is right now.
Well, I'm out. I got a 2015.
Yeah, no, it's got to be a newer car, four-door, with seat belts, yada yada yada. You know.
Right.
I bought this car just to do this job. I needed work. Wasn't getting hired doing what I'm, used to doing. Too old, I guess.
Yeah. I'm starting to feel too old. Well, and the age is picking up.
Yeah, the age has definitely gone on me, that's for sure. Been on Social Security for 5 years.
I'll be there soon.
But that's not enough. Car wants me to touch the steering wheel. Are you paying attention? Yes, I'm paying attention. It's the nag.
Keeps you on your toes. Okay?
It's the nag. Sometimes I have to pay more attention to the screen than the road, it seems. Because if I don't see that, then it gets mad at me and starts beeping. But because part of the issue is my hat. Because if I hold my head a certain way, it can't see my eyes. And if it can't see my eyes, it wants me to touch the steering wheel. It doesn't know what I'm looking at.
So you can't wear sunglasses?
That's one of the tricks. You can wear sunglasses and then read, because it sees the sunglasses and then you can actually be on it and it wouldn't know. That's one of the tricks for fooling it, because then it just reads the surface of the sunglasses. So the trick is just keeping the sunglasses facing the right way. Then your eyes can go wherever you want. I've heard there's people that have a trick where they actually hang a thing of their face there so they can sleep.
Yeah. I'd have to pull over like normal.
Well, see, that's one of the reasons I bought this model is because the back seat flips down. I've got a twin air mattress, one of those Coleman twin air mattresses. Fits back there perfectly. It takes up the whole room. It's nice. The car's got a feature called camp mode, where it uses a heat pump, because that's what it uses for climate inside. Is a heat pump, which is just electricity. So camp mode will keep the car whatever temperature you want, as long as it's got 20% in the battery. It'll even put a little campfire on the screen. And what I do is I go to a RV park, or state parks is what I prefer, that have an RV hookup. And then I just pay for the RV hookup. I hook up to the RV stack, and I wake up in the morning, the car's fully charged. All my devices are fully charged. It's whatever temperature I want it to be. I'm at a nice campground, so I go and use the facilities, I have a campsite, so I make my dinner, my breakfast, and hit the road.
That's all right.
Because I don't like hotels. To me, it's a rip. Nowadays, you're paying over $100 to do what? To sleep in a bed for 4 hours and take a shower, maybe.
And some of these hotels.
Yeah, and you're never sure what you're actually getting into when
you got a black light, everything. Forget about the cameras they got installed.
Yeah, it just Instead, I spend $35 and sleep under the stars or the trees.
Oh, yeah.
I like being outside anyway. I mean, I live on a boat. That's how much I like being outside.
I'm not an outdoors person. I see those videos of the bears roaming around. Oh, no. Uh-uh.
Yeah.
I grew up in New York, so
I did too.
anything bigger than a squirrel, I'm like,
That's no. You can't blame it on growing up in New York.
yeah. Because all I see, first 23 years of my life, all I see was squirrels.
No, that's true. You went to the zoo, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah. I went to the Bronx Zoo. Bronx Zoo was one of my favorite places to go.
On a constant
I was
basis,
born in
though.
Jamaica, Queens.
Really?
Yeah.
I was born in Brooklyn, but I lived in Queens.
I'm born in Jamaica, Queens. One of my first jobs was delivering milk in Brighton Beach. Literally at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning with glass bottles.
Uh-huh.
You know, putting them in the milk boxes outside of people's apartment doors.
Yeah, I heard they used to do that
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah. We'd go, I'd have a cart full of cases of milk and a couple of carriers.
Uh-huh.
Put it into the elevator. I'd have a wedge to jam the elevator door, and I'd run up and down the hall with all the different, to the apartments that got deliveries. I have a little sheet that tell me each floor and which apartments got how much milk. Boom, 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 boom. Back, pull it out, go up. So I get into the elevator, punch all the floors that had customers, but it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Nobody else was using it. I was what, 17 years old.
I started at 15 with the paper route.
Well, I started at paper route at 11. I was living on my own at 17.
Yeah, I left at 19, came back in 22, then joined the Air Force in 23. Good times.
So I just upped the aggressiveness from chill to standard,
Uh-huh.
so that we don't just sit here and move a little bit more and a little bit the rest of the traffic.
Okay.
And so that's why it just did the pass.
All right.
So you're here for a visit, I take it.
No, I live here.
Oh, I thought you were gone for a year.
I work overseas.
I got you.
And now that they're fighting in the Middle East, time to go home for a while.
Sounds like a wise decision.
Oh, yeah.
Discretion is the better part of valor.
Because with Israel and Iran shooting missiles at each other,
Yeah.
they shoot them right over where I work.
That's got to be
So,
stupendous.
yeah, we have to go to alert, go into bunkers while they're fighting, because the debris can hit us at any time.
So you were in Iraq.
And Iraq, yes. And I ain't got nothing to do with what they do, why they, that's your business. But I don't want to get caught in the crossfire.
No, that's a powder keg that could become really serious.
Yeah. But they've been at each other for centuries.
Nah, not like that. Israel hasn't existed for centuries.
I mean, but in that region, though.
No, that's not. It's just not true. It's just not true. The British was the one that's, colonized the place. I suppose the Ottomans had conquered, but they had a dominance there for centuries. They weren't fighting all the time. They were all Ottomans.
They should have stayed one big happy family.
Well, the British are the ones that said, we're going all over the world and we want you folks to work for us because we got more guns and we're willing to kill you better.
When you hear about the Sunnis and the Shiite, they hate each other.
The Sunni and Shia, yeah, that is what Iran and Saudi Arabia are about. They are definitely enemies. There's no doubt about it. But again, that's only existed a couple of hundred years, right? No.
Because even now, even though you got
Islam was what, 1300 or 1600?
I couldn't tell you.
It was quite a bit after the Bible, that's for sure. Anyway, yeah. It's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Because Israel does have nukes.
They want to use them. I think Netanyahu wants to use them.
There's a whole bunch of Christian Zionists in the United States that want people to use them. They want Armageddon. They want Armageddon because they figure they've been, this is the time Jesus is going to come, and they're the ones that are going to get raptured.
Let him come when he wants to come. Let's not provoke anything.
They figure they've established themselves with enough power that must be God's will. I mean, you hear people talking about Trump that way. Like he's really
True.
evangelicals praying over him and shit.
I don't see how we got this way. One person is God, and
he's the only person that can fix it.
So he says. He said he wasn't going to allow war during his presidency.
People are starting to call him on that. How can you say you're the peace president? We're now facing more war than ever. 2 hot wars we're on the edge of. And we're threatening China, which is another third hot war, because sooner or later they're going to take Taiwan. It's going to happen. They're just going to say Taiwan. And what are we going to do?
They say, you want to do this the easy way, or you want to do this the hard way?
Because all China has to do is put a blockade on Taiwan. And they have enough ships now to do it. Do you know they have their own space station?
No.
Yeah. China's got their own space. Do you know China's got its own outpost on the moon?
No.
On the far side of the moon. They've actually gone to the far side of the moon and taken samples and brought them back.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard of that.
Yeah, you know why?
Because all I hear about is Trump. That's the only news you get.
Because we live in a programmed silo
Right.
that's totally ignorant of the rest of the world. China's got a very highly advanced space program. Their AI, their recent AI DeepSeek is blowing everybody away on how they're doing it, even though Trump won't sell them the chips. Yet they're figuring out a way to make AI without the big chips. How'd they do that? They only did it with millions of dollars and we're spending billions. China's going to eat our ass. Totally.
Didn't they have Chinese astronauts in our space station?
Nope. Russian.
Russian.
There were a couple of launches that we didn't have after one of our rockets blew up. We weren't able to get up there. It was the International Space Station, and it might even have Russians up there right now. I believe that was Reagan that did that. Not sure.
So why did we kill the space shuttles? I mean,
Well, one of them blew up.
that was what, in the 80s?
They weren't. They cost too much to redo. It wasn't good. It wasn't the best design.
Yeah, well, we have no replacement. We're using other people's rockets now.
Well, we're using Elon's now.
Yeah, they're blowing up.
No, they're not. The ones that Elon is blowing up are meant to blow up. That's part of his design process. That's how he does it. That's the one thing that makes him different than NASA, that in some ways you can get away with because it's your own money. And when NASA does it, it's other people's money. It's the government's money. So they can't just blow shit up just to blow shit up. Elon could blow shit up just to learn what happens if you do it this way.
See, that's not how they frame it on the news. They just say, oh, other SpaceX rocket blew up.
Well, yeah, that's why did they do that. There's all sorts of anti-Elon stuff all over the place. But if you just go to the SpaceX website or any of it, they'll tell you over and over again that, you know, we'd love it if it worked all at once, but we don't expect it to. That's why they can make 3 or 4 of them in a row. They got them churning out, and that's what his plan is. So once he gets it so that the fact that they can churn out all of these test ones, once they get the design perfect, they'll be able to churn out good ones. And so he'll be able to, his idea is to send hundreds of rockets to Mars at the same time. He really wants to colonize Mars. That's what his thing is. And he figures the only way you can do it is if you have a lot of rockets. And they got to be reusable, so they can go back and go up again. And that's why his rockets are catchable. Have you seen that? Where they catch the fucking rocket, where the booster goes up, you know, puts the satellites up and then comes back down, and they catch it in little toothpicks. Freaking awesome. And then they go and use it again. You couldn't do that with the space shuttle. Even though the space shuttle landed, the tiles and stuff were too screwed up. And then they had to retile it and everything. They basically had to rebuild the outside of it every time. That was just too damn expensive. Elon's got these things that could just go up and come back down.
Yeah, it's weird seeing it go up and come back exactly where it came from. It's like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
was he also doing like commercial flights to space just for the average?
No,
rich
that's
person?
not, that's not him.
Oh,
No.
was that Bezos?
That's Bezos.
Okay.
Oh, why did I do that?
You gonna take this right?
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I haven't been doing any of it.
Oh.
This is where the car's gonna go.
Okay, looks about right.
Looks about what it looks the same as what Uber says to do. So we're. I mean, if I need to take over, just let me know. But that's what we're doing. And we're going to be making. It wants me to touch the steering wheel because it knows I was watching the map. Going to make a left on Charles Street, and then a right on Bradmere Loop.
Yep.
And that'll put us on Dundee Way. That's what the car's going to do.